All right, let's talk about chapter 12. This is a large chapter, in my opinion, and not too heavy of a, well, medium-sized PowerPoint. There's a lot of information. Review it. I don't expect you to learn word for word what this chapter has to say, but we'll discuss the highlights. It's an important chapter. It's a lot to it. Okay, let me figure out how to move the slide. There we go. Learning objectives here on the slide and also on page 487 in the book. So, introduction, three cornerstones of healthcare delivery: cost, access, and quality. Quality health care has jointed them at a center stage in recent years. Definitely quality is important. Quality is important. We're demanding more, better outcomes as healthcare consumers, and reimbursement is based on quality outcomes. All right. Do. Next thing I have highlighted in the book is gross domestic product that a country spends on the delivery of its healthcare services. That's just one of the how they review or measure cost. Okay. Expansion of access will increase healthcare expenditures. Yes. Cost of healthcare from macro to micro perspective, equal access to high quality care. Yes, all of this is in the book on page 488. Okay, cost of healthcare. So consumers consider the price of healthcare, right? Like how much is it going to cost for me to go to the urgent care? How much is it going to cost me to go to my primary care doctor or maybe a dermatologist or a specialty person? Where at the national perspective, they look at how much a nation, what is the government spending on healthcare? Reasons for cost escalations. This starts, I believe, let me make sure. No, I guess it starts on page 489. That's fine. Um, Third party payment and perfect market, growth of technology, increase of elderly population, medical model of delivery changes. Yes. So, reasons for cost escalation. This is also in the book. Multi-payer systems, administrative costs that just continues to rise. More and more people will utilize healthcare when they have insurance. And compared to other nations, the United States devotes a larger portion of their economic resources to healthcare, but we do not have the best outcomes. So, how do we explain that? We spend the most money, yet we do not have the best outcomes. Our country is crippled with obesity, diabetes, heart disease, cancers. Some of the chronic diseases are genetics. We can't alter them, but some of them are not. We can choose to not eat high fatty food as the main course of our food. We can choose to not eat high sugary, high carb foods, and we can lose weight. Stop smoking, stop drinking alcohol. There are so many things that we can do. Anyway, okay, I'm digressing. One thing, as I'm flipping through the chapter, I want to make sure I bring to your attention the table on page 492, 493. There's a quiz question. It took me a minute to find the answer to this question. So I want to make sure that, let me make sure I'm not getting ahead of myself. Hang on. I don't think I am. Okay. I want to make sure that you have the answer. So I forgot what the question was. It was something about the GDP in the United States, but the question wasn't very clear. So the answer is going to be found on page 493, the last line in that table 12.2. United States for the year 2009, 17.4% was the GDP per capita. So just side note there, I guess you guys, it'll be those of you who do listen to my lectures, here's a benefit. Okay, so reasons for cost escalation, cost containment, regulatory approaches. Yes, we have to. So higher utilization of healthcare services undoubtedly lead to medical care cost inflation. That's basic business. That is supply and demand. The more people who need it, they're going to charge a little bit more. That because they can and they should, because it costs the hospital or the healthcare systems to hire people. It costs them to buy machines, the most latest greatest technology, etc. But we do need some regulatory approaches that help contain price controls, peer review, that sort of thing. So the reasons for cost of escalation, I feel like that was a PowerPoint slide back, but on page 496, all these are listed here. I'm not going to read these to you, but just skim these little paragraphs related to the reasons of cost escalation. This will help explain things. It also will help you realize too that this is going to yet be another one of those issues that is still around in 100 years. There's not going to be a perfect way to control this and to make it meet every single human being's need in the United States. So they're going to have to group us into groups, and we hope for the best. Okay, cost containment, competitive approaches. Yes, I don't know where I am compared to the book. Page 499, I have it circled that administrative costs make our healthcare system expensive because somebody has to manage the financing, the insurance, the delivery, the payment functions, etc. Um, on page 500, fraud and abuse is mentioned, and yes, that does increase our cost because there's somebody's stealing, somebody's lying on insurance claims. It'd be no different than you shopping at Target and Walmart and someone stealing from the stores continuously, and the price of products go up, right? So it's kind of the same thing. It's mentioned in the book as upcoding. That is a real thing that does happen. All right, so I'm still in the book, Cost Containment Regulatory Approaches, page 502, flipping over to 504. A certificate of need. This is something you may have seen in the news recently. My hospital system, Wake Med, has applied for a certificate of need for a hospital in Garner, North Carolina, and a mental health hospital in Knightdale, North Carolina. So Wake Med, Rex, WillMed, UNC, nobody can just go buy a piece of land and break ground and build a multi-million dollar facility on it without permission, very much like a county resident or city resident can't just buy land and start building without permission. So we as county residents or city residents, we get a permit from the county office, planning office, whereas healthcare facilities get a certificate of need from the state. You have to prove that there's a need for what they're asking for. You have to provide costs, what it's going to cost to build, what the expected outcome is, etc. Price controls, page 505. All right. I think I'm finally caught up in the book with PowerPoint. Forgive me, I'm not perfect at that. Cost containment, competitive approaches. Competition refers to rivalry amongst sellers for customers. We watch TV. If you're watching local news, you'll see several WickMed commercials. They put that in their budget where I don't think I've ever seen a UNC or a Rex or Wilson or even Greenville Vidant commercial, to be honest. So, that makes me scratch my head. I wonder why WakeMed does that. Anyway, um, access to care is another significant issue, and that refers to the ability of a person to obtain healthcare services when needed. This has so much to do with location. This has so much to do with socioeconomic status. This has so much to do with how individuals manage their finances. Health insurance is not cheap. There are affordable options. And of course, if you're healthy, that makes them live a little more affordable. Um, but sometimes genetics challenge us with our health choices. I'm sorry, not health choices, with our health statuses. All right, access to care, availability, accessibility, accommodation, affordability, acceptability. I kind of said that. Four main types of access, measurement and current status of access. Okay, so table 12.3, where is this in the book? So this is going to be a little bit old because, again, this is 10 years old. So great numbers here, just don't memorize them. There's no reason to memorize them. Another table, Affordable Care Act. Whew, they have done the best they can with this Affordable Care Act and access to care. It's just not going to be a simple, easy fix. And even on page 517, the paragraph says, despite the welcome progress made, there are still gaps in access and affordability. Absolutely, there is. And there will be in 100 years. It's just, this is just the beast of healthcare. So the main takeaway from something like that is for not for you or anybody of your family to feel, defeated and I shouldn't even try. No, it should motivate you to take exceptional care of yourself. Stop smoking. Stop putting anything in your lungs, by the way. Um, Drink sparingly, maybe just socially at holidays or, just definitely not daily. That doesn't give your liver a chance to rebound. And I don't even have to tell you all the damage that occurs when you put anything foreign in your lungs. And I'm going to emphasize anything again. And we could argue that point for hours, but I know I'm right. So do your research, do your own research. Don't put anything in your lungs. Cut back on sugar, cut back on processed foods. That those are the choices you have no matter what, where you live, no matter what your budget is. You can afford an apple over a bag of cookies any and every day. I don't care who you are. So then if we get down to the basics of this quality of care and quality of life, I'll argue with you all day long. It comes down to choices sometimes. Now, genetics, it does not. All right, let me stop. Let me go. Let me refocus. Quality of care, the quality implications. Quality has a range from unacceptable to excellent. Focus on services provided by the healthcare delivery system. Absolutely. Dimensions of quality. This on the in the book on page 518. It's going to go into that. Quality of life is mentioned here also. The Dunn-Beaton model is mentioned on page 521. There it is. Processes that improve quality, clinical practice guidelines, cost efficiency, critical pathways, risk management. These are all discussed on 522, 523. Public reporting of quality. Chapter does great discussing that. And then we're towards the end. Let me back up just a second here. I want to mention something to you too, just out of genuine love and perspective for you all. When we talk about clinical practice guidelines right now in the year 2022, our healthcare system is a reactive clinical system. Our doctors, our nurse practitioners, our physician assistants, registered nurses, we all graduate and take our licensing exams, etc., without being taught prevention. It's reactive. So once you're sick, you come see me and I can help you. There's not a lot of focus and emphasis on prevention. So that's why I got a little passionate in my speaking just a few minutes ago. We do have choices, and I hope that you or maybe your children or your grandchildren will go to school one day and get their degrees in prevention, and will be able to avoid so much of this highly priced healthcare system and insurance, etc. Anyway, okay, I'm rambling at this point. Stay healthy, take extra good care of yourselves, and let me know if you have any questions about this chapter.